went to defend these conference delegates at the court because somebody went to court to challenge the authority of Mr. President to convoke this conference. May I take this opportunity to thank the delegate and ask other sounds here, many of you. You've all spoken brilliantly and well about his speech. The time has come to step forward and join the sound that is representing us in the court and queue behind him to defend the cause, which we all believe in, the good speech of Mr. President. Coming to my speech, Mr. President, this country is sick, seriously sick. The sickness is not sickness of malaria or diarrhea. It is sickness of poverty, abject poverty. Maybe you may be thinking of body poverty where you cannot have 3 square meals a day. No. That is one aspect of the poverty of the body. But this country, our leaders and all of us, most of us, are equally sick of the mind. We are spiritually sick. If we are not spiritually sick, we should not have problem with how you serve your God. Be it Muslim, Christian, whatever. You should have a right to serve your God the way you want it. We are serving just one God. But because of poverty of the spirit, we are challenging the way and manner someone else is watching his God. It's terrible spiritual poverty. That of the mind has to do with our attitudinal behavior to so many things happening in this country. I put it this way. If all Nigerians today are moved from this country to Germany, for example, within 10 years, wow, Germany will be a world power. If we move the same and exchange and take us to Germany, within 10 years, Germany will be a third world power. It's our attitude. And the position of Nigerian engineers is that we should confront this issue frontally, vis-a-vis economy. No matter the type of government, it is the economy that is the answer. And to do this, we should address our mind to science, engineering, and technology. We must produce what we need in this country and stop importation. And the moment we start to do this, the economy will move forward. If people are trying to move out of this country, Adefemi Kila, I'm going nowhere. I'm staying with colleague Nigerians to make sure that we build this country back to where we should belong. Vis-a-vis, catch up with the so-called Asian tigers and beat them to it. We have all the resources to so do.
Please, Mr. Speaker, wind up, please.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. KUKU, Mrs. REMI. Okay, KUKU.
Mr. Chairman, thank you and God bless you for your patience with us and for the wisdom God has given to you. We thank God for Mr. President and so many of spoken well about him. It is our turn now to talk about this address president made this address with passionate heart. My name is Chief Mrs. REMI KUKU. I represent National Council for Women's Society. If all Nigerians are passionate, we move out of poverty. If all Nigerians can speak the truth, we move away from violence. If all Nigerians can love one another, we will not come here to talk about resource control or poverty. Nigeria is not a poor country. If you want to know poor countries, go to Somalia, go to Ethiopia. Poverty is written on the faces of people. Nigeria is not a poor country. According to the last speaker before me, it is our heart that is poor. It is our attitude that is poor. Therefore, I call on every Nigerian to repent. We should repent. This conference is born out of pain. Pain. The youths are pained, the elders are pained, the women are pained because we cheated one another. We have cheated the less privileged, we have cheated the youth, we have cheated the women, we have even cheated ourselves. Therefore, I pray, according to the Bible, let God create in us a new heart and a new spirit. With that new spirit of passionate attitude, Nigeria will become a great country. So many of you have traveled to so many countries and you've seen what is happening. We have to also blame ourselves. Today, we as parents, we've neglected our children. Mother is at work, father is at work. Who is at home to take care? We bring in strange people, we don't know them. There is no love in the home. And so what you don't have, you cannot give it to the society. We must love in the home, that we can give love to the society. It is only love and sacrifice that can change this country. How many of us are ready to sacrifice? One man alone wants to acquire all the wealth and build all the houses. That's vanity. We must stop greed. Greed is one of the things that creates poverty. Mr. Chairman, I can't talk everything because so many people have spoken. Please, Nigerians, not just us here that are in the conference, let us be passionate to one another. Let us be passionate to our country. Let us be passionate to our society. And please, let us pray for a new spirit and a new heart. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Kumalia, Honorable Mohammed UMARA.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. My name is Honorable Mohammed UMARA Kumalia. I represent the Northeast Zone. Mr. Chairman, I join other speakers to commend Mr. President for this fantastic speech, which is delivered from his heart. And I think the spirit of this speech enjoins all of us to all be nationalists and do away with our parochial and, in some cases, our irredentist dispositions. Now, a lot of people, Mr. Chairman, have said that this conference is not an elected delegates conference. But I think rather than a minus, I think whether it happened by design or by omission, I believe it is a good thing that this conference is not an elected conference, because it affords people, if it were to be an elected conference, it affords people who ordinarily would not go and contest any election for anything, the opportunity to contribute their quota to national development. And they are legitimately entitled to give their piece of advice. We traditional rulers, we have our elder statesmen, we have octogenarians who have reached a stage in life where they're not interested in contesting any elections. We have even our armchair executives. We have the civil society, you know, some very revolutionary. Everybody has an opportunity here. But I think with this comes a greater responsibility on all of us, an opportunity, this opportunity given by the president for us to come here by nomination of our respective constituencies. It gives us, or it rather places on us, a burden to make sure we give our best to this country. Almost everybody, every delegate in this room is privileged in one way or another. And that is what is lacking in terms of what we need to give our people. And I think it is very critical that we think as Nigerians, as nationalists. Because the president, on page 5 of his speech, that this conference is about laying a strong foundation by building a more inclusive national consensus on the structure and guiding principles of state. I think this is what is expected of us. Now, Mr. Chairman, the problem of this country, as has been said by many others, is one is attitudinal, the other is structural. Mr. President, this is a country where corruption is pervasive. This is a country where elected representatives who have been given the mandate of the people, after leaving office after 8 years, they will buy brand new jets. They are not running away. The other person was talking about people stealing goats, which is not more than 5,000. When you steal a goat, you run away, you hide. But this is a country where somebody will loot our treasury and he'll be flaunting it in our face. That tells you there is something that is serious structurally. When people talk about structuring this country, I support the structuring of this country. One, to make it more difficult for people to steal our money. And two, Mr. Chairman, the rule of law must be upheld. There is no country, no unit of administration, be it the family, community, village, or a nation that could thrive without upholding certain key and basic principles. And in the case of a nation, it is upholding the rule of law. Nobody should be above the law. We elect you governor, you go and spend 8 years. After 8 years, you buy a brand new jet and start gallivanting in Nigeria and abroad. I think this is not acceptable, and this is pervasive. In fact, some are not even patient to leave office. While they're in office, they'll buy 3 new jets.
Please
and
wind
this is
up.
happening.
Wind up, please.
I'll wind up, Mr. Chairman, I will wind up by saying that, quoting the president, his advice to us. And I think this is very important because a lot of people have talked about things that rather than uniting us could divide us. I want to talk about things that Nigerians have done.
You should be landing now.
I'm landing. Mr. Chairman, when we have crisis, religious or otherwise, I want to talk about Nigerians, be they Muslims or Christians. Where Muslims are killing Christians, I'm talking of Christians that hide Muslims under their bed so that they are not killed. I want to talk about Muslims that are hiding Christians under their bed so that they are not killed. I don't want to inflame people's sentiments. You know, we should be talking about things that are excellent and beautiful Nigerians. The president said, we cannot join hands together to build with a collective vision.
Gentlemen, please land.
Okay, I want to obey the rule of law. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Kumo, Senator Saidu. Kumo, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Senator Saidu Umar Kumo. Garkuangombe is my title, representing Northeast Zone. Mr. Chairman, the Deputy National Chairman, the Conference Secretary, and the Secretariat, fellow delegates, while we are debating the President's speech, which to all intent and purposes is a very laudable one, I believe that the President knows that destiny had bestowed on him the chance to make a difference. This is his moment to bring hope to Nigerians. Mr. Chairman, distinguished delegates, Nigeria, we presume we have the population of about 170 million people in Nigeria. Out of this number of people alive in Nigeria, 492 selected, because I want to talk to us, the delegates. I want to go along the line of my former speaker, that those who are assembled in this hall are members of high esteem integrity who contributed to this country in one way or the other. What gladdened my heart, Mr. Chairman, when we came to this conference on the day of the inauguration and 2 days after, you can see clearly people came with set minds, with their biases. So thinking that the conference is going to be a place where we can, go on fighting. People out there in Nigeria who don't wish anything to this government, they are wishing us bad, thinking that we are going to fail. But what gladdened my heart, from the day we started having our debates, from the rules to this moment, all indicators show that we have subsided and people change their minds, and the contribution of the delegates changed so many things in the minds of many of us. So please, distinguished delegates, let us have fear of God in our mind and put Nigeria forward in our deliberation in the committees. Nigeria is better, bigger than any individual. Let us understand ourselves. Understand me as a northerner, a Muslim. Let me understand as a southerner, a Christian. Let me understand you, a Muslim, a northerner. Let me understand you, a northerner, a Christian. Because we don't have any other place than Nigeria. Let us shame those who think this conference will not do anything. Let's shame them. Because it is not by mistake we are assembled here. And from all look of things, the way the conference is constructed is different from the way some other conferences before these were constituted. So please, distinguished delegates, my contribution is on us. We will soon go to committees. Let us face Nigeria. Let us face our problems, because we don't have any other country than country Nigeria.
Please
there is so many African countries who don't wish us well.
Please wind up.
So, Mr. Chairman, distinguished delegates, I want to appeal to all of us, because very soon, in 2 days' time, we will go to committees. So that is why I expect all of us to, contribute with decorum and with mutual understanding, and with the feeling of the country at heart. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Kura Mala Nasir.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Permit me also to stand on the existing protocol. I must confess, my name is Nasru Kura. I represent civil society organization at this conference. Mr. Chairman, sir, I must also say that I'm one of the few Nigerians that feels happy when this honorable meeting was convened. Reasons are not far-fetched, because I know in the early 90s, precisely in the year 1990, when we proposed to have a national conference at the National Theatre Igamu, then as a student, as a activist, I was one of those delegates that was mandated to go and represent the National Association of Nigerian Students. I'm equally one of those young activists who has been passionate about the convocation of a sovereign national conference in Nigeria. So I see this meeting as an opportunity for Nigerians to meet, discuss, and debate the issues and problems of our great country. Mr. Chairman, sir, let me not take much of your time. Let me also look at, in looking at the speech of Mr. President, there are key issues which I thought the President would look at, but the speech doesn't touch on those areas, some of which have been, commented on by past speakers. I must say that I found the President's speech lacking in the area of, one, transparent and credible election, which I also see as a major problem that has breed a lot of, crisis for our own democracy, for our own nation, and for our nationhood. I'm talking about the crisis of unemployment, which is due to the politics of exclusion, as has been initiated by others here, that led, one, insecurity in our country. And this insecurity, as has been analyzed by various speakers, to my mind, it's still a problem because the government has not addressed it properly. And the best way, I think, to address the problem of insecurity is not by, overwhelming military engagement. No, rather, what should be done and what the government should do and what every Nigerian should also lend his or her voice to is the political solution to it. One of the speakers last week, I think Kashim Iman, had talked about the problem people in the Northeast are facing. It is not just the Northeast, it's all over the place. In my own community, in my own ward, in my own area, I was kept indoors for almost 6 hours because there were exchanges of gunshots with insurgents. These are practical realities. It is not just about the question of kidnapping and armed robbery. This insurgency, the government must make a political solution on it. And I think that would be the best way to go about it. Thirdly, also, is the issue of corruption, which many people have also spoken about. Now, one area that I'm also passionate about, Mr. Chairman, and I will need your attention on this, is on the issue of education. I think there is something wrong with our educational system. And I think something needs to be done for us to have and find a lasting solution to it. I am more particularly concerned about the so-called cosmetic Almajiri model schools that have been established in some states in the northern part of the country. I think the government should do more to it than that, because in these schools, what you have is barely a classroom that is made for students to go and recite the Quran. What is needed in the Almajiri education is integrating that system of education into our own educational curricula with a view, to give these students of Almajiri education the skill with which to make and earn a living. Anything short of that is not taking us anywhere. Permit me, please, Mr. Chairman, I need your protection, please. Mr. Chairman, sir, I'm talking about an area where I'm passionate about. Now, having said so, Mr. Chairman, sir, I will also want to call, it is in the light of that I'm asking for the justiciability of the Chapter 2 of the Nigerian Constitution. That is the only guarantee, that will give us peace and lasting solution to these problems of insurgency. Otherwise, all the problems you are talking about, housing, human rights, and every other thing you will talk about, I'm telling you, we will still go back to it. Lastly, sir, I also lend my voice to those who talk about the rule of law. That where there is no law, everybody knows about the Hobbesian states, and I don't think that is what Nigeria needs. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the protection. Thank you, High Table. Thank you, fellow delegates.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The next speaker is Kure, His Excellency Engineer A.A. Kure.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. May the peace and blessing of Allah, our Creator, be upon all the prophets, commencing from Adam through Moses, Isa alayhi salam, and Muhammad Rasulullah. Mr. Chairman, distinguished delegates, I, being the first former governor to address this conference, hold on.